Hello everyone, I am H.A.K, and if you want to know what that stands for and what in the world it has to do with my intro, feel free to ask me. Well, earlier today, my mother and I went to see Argo and see what that was all about, so not much to be said after that, so here's my review for Argo. So the story of Argo is, wait, if you haven't seen the trailers or anything like that and don't want to know the plot yet, that's fine. Just go to this particular section of the timeline so you can skip this. Anyway, the story has to do with the events of November 4th, 1979, where a group of people in Iran arrests a bunch of people in the U.S. embassy in Tehran, with only 6 people escaping, who are taking refuge and hiding in the home of a Canadian ambassador. The State Department tries to form a bunch of options to try to find a way to rescue them, but only one of them, a CIA specialist named Tony Mendez, comes up with an idea after watching a movie with his son to go with a cover story and claiming that the 6 people are Canadian filmmakers that are scouting locations in Iran for shooting a science fiction movie. So Mendez goes to Iran and uses the cover to try to set the 6 people free. So if the movie was described in one word, that word would be wow. Just plain wow. This was an excellent film. It was suspenseful, it was dramatic, it was sometimes funny at certain points, mostly in like the end of the first hour of the film. And it was very well acted and it kept you very, very, very much in the edge of your seat. And it was just a really, really good movie. And part of what makes it good is that, for one thing, they make it a little fair, or at least point out how the U.S. government was to blame with the whole idea about how they took aid for the recently disposed Sarah and all that. And it tells the story really well and brings the whole event to life with a whole bunch of actors that looked very, very, very similar to the real life people, and really showing all the stuff that was happening in Iran, even outside from trying to rescue those people. And of course, stuff like the yellow ribbons in the U.S., that's one thing. When it came to watching this movie, my mom would point out how back when she was 11 years old, I think it was, how they had those yellow ribbons and how it was so suspenseful. She didn't understand all of it because, you know, she was only 11. But it was a pretty freaking big deal, and she always really wondered what was going on, what exactly happened, and this is the movie where they did it. Well, not all of it, because this has to do with 6 of the captives, not all of them, which is one issue I have with this movie. This is the one thing that keeps me from rating this to 100%. It's the fact that they didn't go too much in really even mentioning the other captives from the U.S. embassy in Tehran. Yes, it makes sense that the main focus were those 6, but they brought up the other captives a little bit during the beginning of the film, and for a while we get an idea of what's happening to them, but after that they're never seen again. I mean, for me it was that bad that I completely forgot about all the other captives. I mean, I didn't remember them at all until on the way home, where my mom brought it up. It pretty much came to the point where I guess the way to put it is that they focused a little too much on the 6 people that they were trying to specifically help escape. Because, yeah, I completely forgot that there are any other captives in any way, shape, or form. And when my mom and I were talking about it, we both felt that they should have been mentioned a little bit throughout the later half of the film. But no, they didn't really. Like, even at the very end, they have a little bit of it, but it's still all about the main 6 and all the people that are trying to help get them out of there. Which is fine. I mean, that's the general idea of the story. This is about trying to help these people get out of there and back to the U.S. But in terms of like bringing this whole story to life, about this whole situation, that doesn't cover the fact that they don't cover that much of that particular bit of history. I mean, yes, those 6 are important, but there's still the fact that there were all those other captives that were captured along the way that was such a big deal, that were held for a very long time, and they weren't focused all that much, which really should have been done a little more than it really was, or at least mentioned. Again, mentioning them in terms of like, we're hoping for all the others or something like that, that would have made more sense to actually at least do that. But they focus more on the 6, which is fine. It makes sense. That's kind of, it's mostly what this film's about. But from a historical point of view, I think it would have been nice if they brought a little more of all the other captives. But that aside, this film was just excellently well done. It was suspenseful, it was dramatic, it was very well acted, it was well told, and it was even funny at some points. Really, if you want to know the story, like if you're someone from the past who knew about this, who experienced it, like my mom did, and never really knew what was happening specifically, or what was the case with those 6 people, this is the movie for you. Enjoy this suspense, because you will feel the suspense. So altogether, I give Argo a 95% out of 100. So if you want to see more of my beta reviews, feel free to check them out on my channel. But if you want to see more, feel free to log on to my blog at hacksreviews.blogspot.com, where I have hundreds of reviews that you can read and enjoy. Until then, everyone, I am Hack, and if you want to know what that stands for and what in the world it has to do with my intro, feel free to ask me.